And we are live, the NCAA South Regional at the University of Tampa's Nemoli Family Stadium. I'm Taylor Storthy alongside Bruce Wozniak, and it is a beautiful day out for some softball, Bruce.
That it is, and a lot of softball over these next 3 days. The Spartans getting to host several games here at the Nemoli Family Stadium, and of course, good fan support here for them, and obviously for Embry-Riddle being just from up in Daytona Beach. And so glad to have you with us also here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network as UT gets set to face Embry-Riddle on this, as Taylor just said, beautiful 80-degree Thursday afternoon. And you see Embry-Riddle getting ready to hit here in the top of the first. The starting pitcher for the Spartans is Mary Beth Feldman.
And Feldman entering this game, a 13-1 record, a .43 ERA, 86 strikeouts, alongside 97 innings pitched. The sophomore, who's come in from the University of Utah, has set the D2 division ablaze in the Sunshine State Conference, and the last time she was in the circle against Embry-Riddle, she was perfect, retiring all 21 batters in the 7-inning game without allowing a single base runner. That swing and a miss from Leah Johnson brings the count to 1-1. It'll be tough to try to repeat that task. Leah Johnson, one of the more prolific hitters for Embry-Riddle, a 3.44, 3.63, and 3.77 slash line. Good eye to take that one to bring the count to 2-1. Alongside those numbers, Johnson also brings 11 RBIs and 32 stolen bases with incredible speed on the base paths. Feldman ready to go from the circle with the 2-1 pitch. That's going to be grounded to Balmer. Makes the play to first to retire the first batter of the inning. A simple ground ball play. And that will now bring up Mihaela Sandridge. Sandridge, the best hitter, you could argue, from the stat line for Embry-Riddle, with a 3.43 average, a 4.31 on-base percentage, and a 6.06 slugging, giving her a 10.37 OPS in total. That first pitch goes for strike one.
And if you've been watching Spartans games during the regular season, thank you. And one of the big things you'll notice different here this afternoon, as you see the outfield, they have temporary fences that have been put in as that one goes way up high for a ball. And the fences are here for NCAA play. It's 190 down the left and right field lines and 220 to straightaway center. So one big difference that you see here now that we're into the NCAAs and finished with the regular season.
Indeed, that's been a key facet of Tampa's play. The tall walls in the back have prevented a lot of would-be home runs as well, that they're pretty far back too. The only one we've actually seen go over the wall was from Alexa Russo on a grand slam more recently back in April. Now they're hoping to get a few more home runs, or at the very least a little more outfield action, as the walls have been brought up 40 feet on each side to 190, and of course 220 to the center field line. 2-2 after that swing and miss from Sandridge, a chance for for Feldman to get her first strikeout of the game from the circle. The 2-2, fouled away and staying alive.
Speaking of the regular season, Embry-Riddle posted a 28-16 one-loss record in the regular season. The Spartans were 35-11, and we are in the top of the first here with one out. And Embry-Riddle at the plate.
Good attempt to frame that by Chevalier, but just a little bit too far outside on that one. 3-2 count. Sandridge, a good job to force it to get full. On deck, Drayton. Drayton would love to have a base runner. Fouled away. And as you mentioned, Bruce, we've got a lot of action over the next couple days. Right after this one, Valdosta State takes on Rollins. And the winners of each game will play each other in the winner's bracket tomorrow. The losers face off in the loser's bracket, as there is a double elimination format for the regionals. That one fouled away into the bullpen.
The Spartans come into this game very hot. They won their last two games of the regular season. It was a 3-game set against Rollins. They lost that first game, which had snapped an 8-game winning streak. So UT has won 10 of their last 11 and looking to ride that momentum here into the NCAAs. As you see the walk issued there by Mary Beth Feldman.
Feldman hasn't issued too many walks this season, hasn't allowed too many base runners. Indeed, that's the first base runner she's conceded to Embry-Riddle all season. with that well-worked walk from Sandridge. Now, runner on first with one away for Drayton. They're going to have to see if Rhiannon Drayton is going to be able to do anything with it.
Yeah, that's right. Mary Beth Feldman pitched 97 innings this season and only walked 18 batters. She struck out 86.
So only that amount of innings, but a good amount of strikeouts in that period of time. That was certainly helped with one of her more recent starts, where she put up 14 strikeouts in a complete game shutout. So really dizzying stuff from Feldman. We'll have to see if that comes back a little bit later today. The 0-1 here. Ready from the circle. Runner on, one out. That one's taken a tad bit high. Ball one.
And this is a little different over at third base. The Eagles head coach, Kelsey Dunn, actually with a big card like we're used to seeing NFL coaches consulting on the sideline.
I'll be interesting to see. Russo picks it up, doesn't let it get into the outfield, but the awkward handling doesn't allow her to make a play at first.
Sometimes we've seen pitchers that have come in here into the Namoli Family Stadium on the visiting team in the circle that will look to the dugout, then they look to the catcher, and there's all kinds of time that's used in getting the sign for the next pitch. And so it's interesting to see here the Eagles coach with that, I'm going to call it maybe 6x9 card that she's holding down there. And of course this is coming with her team batting.
Yeah, so very interesting to see the different philosophies. Tampa, they're mainly just hey, you just figure it out what to do. They don't really do a lot of consulting. We know teams have used wristbands before to check for fielding and all of that, but Tampa doesn't use too much of that, so interesting to see how philosophies change with that. The way Tampa has done it has worked so far, of course, entering the game. Really good record, second seed in their region. But so far, Rollins, the upper hand of the base pass at the very least, with two runners on and one out. But now here's the 0-2. That's going to be grounded to third. Minor takes the force at third, and the fielder's choice means the runner will get to first, but a smart play by Minor to make sure she got the out for the more dangerous runner.
Yeah, the game here the other day, they had a couple situations like that and opted to get the lead runner instead of the kind of muscle memory, which is throwing to first. And it's something that you have to be aware of even more so now that the games are certainly, the stakes are significantly higher in these games. And, of course, Corinne Minor is a veteran, and so that kind of came second nature to her to make that play.
I was wondering, there could have been time to make a double play happen, but just making sure you get the one out in case a bad throw to second reaches the outfield, or the throw to first then is rushed and reaches the opposition dugout, that would be the worst case scenario because a run's then on the board. Now the 1-0 taken by Ortiz Munoz. That one's taken inside the zone. Checked up, wanted to go for it, decides to pull back, and with that the count goes to 1-1.
Ortiz Munoz is their first base player. She batted .220 during the regular season, 44 games played, and batting here with two outs in the top of the first.
That one taken up high, ball two. Feldman, electric stuff from the circle all season for the Spartans. And honestly, it's almost rare to see her with two runners on like this in the first. But with two outs, doesn't have too much more to do to clear it up. But with that, count goes to 3-1. A close call, but just a little bit high.
Ortiz Munoz, it's interesting to note, I have pointed out on past broadcasts during the regular season that UT has all but three players from Florida. Heck, Ortiz Munoz isn't even from the United States. She hails from San Lorenzo, Puerto Rico, as you see her draw the walk there. And the base is loaded now.
So base is loaded. A high-pressure at-bat right here in the first. And so after the last time Feldman faced off against Embry-Riddle, Feldman took care of every single batter pretty easily. Now she finds herself bases loaded, having issued two walks and a single.
And I'll tell you, this is a sign of a veteran coach. I'm talking about Leslie Cantor in the Spartans dugout. You know, some younger coaches might pop out of the dugout right away and get nervous in a situation like this, which only makes your pitcher that much more nervous. And in this case, she knows that Mary Beth Feldman will settle down, and obviously the battery, they have a great relationship, Feldman, and you saw Alexis Chevalier go out there and have a short conference. And they realize that it's as simple as just getting an out and the inning's over. So as daunting as it looks, having the bases loaded, this is kind of where you separate the men from the boys, as the expression goes, and you say, like, I'm not going to be bothered by it, to get the next out and end of the inning.
We'll have to see what they're doing here. Can they get the next out? Russo tracks it and makes the routine catch. Even though she had to go a bit of distance to get it, she makes it happen. And Embry-Riddle leaves the bases loaded. That's the top half of the inning done and dusted. The Spartans are ready to go for the bottom half right after this. You are watching the Sunshine State Conference Network for the NCAA South Regional for Division II softball. We'll be right back.
Just another ordinary day at UT.
So we are back at the Nemoli Family Stadium. Tampa at the plate, Embry-Riddle on defense and in the circle. And speaking of that circle, it's going to be Kelsey Collins called on for the start here for Embry-Riddle. Kelsey Collins 20-8 with a 2.12 ERA and 145 strikeouts this season and over 180 innings pitched. The first pitch this time is going to be taken on the outside corner, strike one.
Lauren Fantone, the leadoff hitter for the Spartans, UT's left fielder. And Lauren, .317 batting average in the regular season, all 46 games played. As you see, the first base hit, and then I was going to say the flyout, and now with all the bobbling, is it going to be the first error of the game?
Yeah, that is a great play right there by Fantone, seeing the drop ball and just gunning it to second. Although, you have to feel bad for Leah Johnson. Johnson made a diving effort to make what would have been arguably one of the plays of the tournament so far. Well, obviously so far it is only the first inning of Game 1 of the South Regional. But the ball slips out of the glove, and that allows Fantone to get to second, as the fielder who also tracked to the ball couldn't get it cleanly in their glove either. So now runners on second after that first pitch with no one out. Keister tries to drop a sacrifice, and that goes in the dirt. Strike one.
But there's danger in the way that Johnson played that ball in the outfield, trying to catch it from the top down instead of putting her glove up, because that does open itself to knocking the ball down, which is what happened there. And then, as you mentioned, the other fielder coming over Scott and the mishandle that allows Lauren Fantone to end up all the way at second. So it actually just goes back to real fundamentals, and it could be some big game jitters here that Johnson chose to play it the way that she did. It could be the fact that she was coming at it from an angle and just kind of almost reaches out just by instinct and didn't turn the glove over, and the Spartans will take it regardless.
Yeah, the Spartans won't be too disappointed about that play whatsoever, because it allows them to get a runner in scoring position, although we've seen Keister with the first two pitches try to fail to drop a sacrifice to look to move Fantone to third. That one well in the dirt. We'll have to see what Keister does if she tries to drop it again or tries to take an average swing at it. You see the infielder, at the very least third base player, all the way up right here.
Lily Keister, the Spartans center fielder, she hit .338 during the regular season in 36 games played. As you see her foul that one back. And Keister, 6 RBI on the season.
Keister notably got the walk-off in the Mary Beth Feldman perfect game back in April. And so far in the series between these two so far this season, Embry-Riddle won that first game, but Tampa won the next two. So Tampa currently a 2-1 advantage over Embry-Riddle in the book so far, the amount of times they've played. But obviously, you never know what's going to happen when they play again, which is why we play the game. 3-2 count now for Keister. Chance to get a second runner on for Galehouse, who is on deck. Fouled away. Good job by Keister to stay alive. Not just being able to get the count full, but from an 0-2 count, working it full and fouling a couple pitches off.
As early as it is, this is an important at-bat because if she can work the walk and all of a sudden start to get into the head of Kelsey Collins that, gee, there's no outs, there's already 2 runners on, and a dangerous hitter like Mariah Galehouse on deck, you want to start getting to the pitcher early in terms of her confidence or lack thereof. And so if Keister can draw the walk here, obviously they'd love a base hit, but this is an important at-bat very early on, especially to answer Embry-Riddle having loaded the bases in the top of the first.
Swing and a miss, so no worries about getting the second runner right now, as we see the first strikeout of the game on the whiff. Good stuff from Collins to get the first out. But still, there's a runner in scoring position and one of the more dangerous Spartan hitters. We see the outfield backing up a little. It's now Maria Galehouse.
Yeah, Galehouse very dangerous. She had 290 in the regular season, as you see the big swing and a miss there. And Galehouse, 45 games played, 1 home run, 19 RBI, and a .318 on-base percentage.
So I'll say something, Galehouse, not always the most on-base percentage player, but when she hits it, she loves to hit it into the gap and hit for some good power. Wonder if that first swing and miss was an attempt to try to take it yard this early. Good eye outside, ball 1, so you see a runner on second with 1 hit for each team and a 1-1 count with 1 out. Collins ready and fires from the circle. That one taken, strike 2, just on the inside corner. Ooh, that was a close one.
Yeah, Galehouse wasn't very happy there with the strike call, but you can't fight City Hall, so now she's got to work from behind 1 and 2.
Fouled away. Good job to stay alive in the at-bat. Now, we see normally 2 umpires in the regular season, but there are actually 3 here for the NCAA regionals. So always interesting to see, get the extra pair of eyes and another player the ump can turn to if he's not sure and say, hey, what was your take on that call? So now, getting ready, Collins, the 1-2. What's she going to do? That one's going to be dropped to first. So it works as an accidental sacrifice, as it's able to get Fantone to third, but it does lead to the second out of the inning.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, in reality, Galehouse is actually lucky on that one because she really reached for a pitch that was otherwise going to go outside and would have been a ball, and ends up, like you said, getting a probably not intentional sacrifice out of it. And as a result, now you get Corinne Miner, the number 4 hitter, up to bat, and a runner on third. So an opportunity for the Spartans now.
If there's anyone you want at the plate in this situation, it's Corinne Miner. Strike 1 taken inside, so we're already seeing a pretty established inside strike zone for right-handed batters. It'll be interesting to watch later in the game.
Yes, Corinne Miner. She hit .323 in the regular season, so she absolutely is the player. Oh, wow, way up high on Miner. Had to back away from that one. She absolutely is the player that you want hitting in a situation like this. 3 home runs, 30 RBI, and this is why, in addition to her veteran presence, she's the cleanup hitter for head coach Leslie Cantor.
That one taken on the low outside corner, strike 2.
Corinne Miner and I both had to look at the umpire on that one because that looked like it was far enough outside that it should have been a ball. And yeah, Corinne's just going to have to shake it off and work from behind now, 1 and 2.
Quite a few of those in this inning. The 1-2 now to Miner. That one a little bit easier to call, ball 2. But so far, our Tampa batters really needing to figure out what pitches they need to swing at. Having some good eyes, but some really big 50-50 calls. We'll wonder what this pitch leads to right here. Fouled away. So Corinne able to stay alive.
What a career Corinne Miner has had here at UT, and she's a grad student now, and it's been a real joy to watch her play over her years here as a Spartan.
That one outside. The count goes full. Corinne, only 3 home runs this season, all of them on the road. With the shorter fences, you wonder if some of her hard-hit balls could eventually lead the yard. The 3-2. That one's a pop-up. This lands just in time. Foul.
Oh, and like Mariah Galhouse before her, she got lucky in terms of where that one ended up falling, because that one saw 3 players for the Eagles converge on it, and fortunately, if you're a Spartans fan, you breathe a sigh of relief. None of them were able to make a play on it, and so Corinne Miner lives to see at least one more pitch in this at-bat.
Already quite a lengthy at-bat, too, so despite getting down on the count early, able to fight back, and draws a ball 4. So keeping the inning alive now for Alexa Russo, one player who we know has a lot of power in their bat.
Yeah, Russo hit .248 in the regular season, a .368 slugging percentage, and another quote-unquote home run hitter for UT. She had 3 in the regular season along with 24 RBI. And now she steps up to bat with runners on the corners and 2 away here in the bottom of the first. And obviously, I'm Captain Obvious when I say that she would love to get Lauren Fantone home while they've got a runner at third. You absolutely have to take advantage of these runners in scoring position situations.
Checking the wrist, righty and fires the 0-0. That one's taken strike 1. On the outside corner, really good command to paint those corners and get those good strike calls by Collins. But with painting all of those, Collins has also pitched quite a bit. That was the 25th of the inning. Here comes 26 on the 1-0. Swing and a miss, so 0-2. Now,
Kelsey Collins may have thrown a lot of pitches in this inning, but she does have good command, though. You figure a lot of that is due to good pitches that the Spartans were just fouling off, although that one sails way outside.
That one was a good pitch, but not meant to touch the strike zone. That's meant to induce a swing and miss to end the inning. Russo didn't fall for the bait, though, and stays swimming in the water. Now back at the top of the pier, ready to cast in another bait, another pitch, and another line. That one's inside. Ball 2, and we saw Embry-Riddle almost looking to leave the field immediately, but nope, that one was taken just inside. The established strike zone shows, I think, a little bit of inside bias to the pitcher, but not by that much, as I think that was a pretty clear-cut ball call. Now, 2 outs, 2 runners on, a 2-2
Kelsey Collins jumped out of the circle. She thought it was a strikeout also. That is, though.
Yep, and after the tags, it did drop into the dirt. Embry-Riddle escapes with any damage as well. So both teams have stranded a combined total of 5 runners and only gotten 1 hit apiece. So Tampa has to watch 2 get left on at the end of the first inning. We'll be back for the top of the second inning live at the NCAA South Regional for Division II softball on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you.
So we are back at Nemoli Family Stadium, top of the second, and so far, pretty stressful first innings. We saw bases loaded and runners at the corners, both in 2-out situations, but Feldman and Collins able to fight out of them. Feldman this time, first pitch taken, ball 1. That was the 27th pitch of the game, so Feldman, quite a few pitches all ready to go.
Yeah, I think there's a tendency, now that the stakes are so much higher and we're into the NCAAs, you don't have a whole lot of time to go through the usual feeling out process. Now it's, hey, we need to win, and we need to start swinging the bat early. And as a result, you saw the first inning play out the way it did, as you just mentioned. Eagles loading the bases in the top of the first, the Spartans getting a couple runners on the corners and the bottom. And so they're swinging early and often here, and after all that, there's no runs to show for it and only 1 hit for each team.
Yeah, the bases were loaded because we've actually seen something uncharacteristic from Feldman, 2 walks, so a little bit of a slow start, but usually when Tampa pitchers start slow from the circle, they're able to heat back up, and now Feldman leads 1-2 in the count, looking for a first strikeout. of course, at the plate, Kelsey Kressler wanting to get on base. Here's the 1-2. Kressler showing bunt. Fouls away. Staying alive.
So Mary Beth Feldman up to 30 pitches now. You heard Taylor talking about the pitch count in the bottom of the first for Kelsey Collins. And we'll be keeping an eye on the two pitchers and that stat as this game goes along. As you see, Kressler initially showing bunt again and then fouling another one back to the screen.
It's always an idea to show bunt to just try to mess with the pitcher to think, hey, are they going to keep that bunt up or are they going to pull away and try to swing? Because when you're in the circle, you're thinking, okay, I've got to be ready. Do I need to throw more off speed to try to counteract the bunt, or do I need to trust that they're going to swing and trust my heat, trust my riser, trust my fake rising curveball? So, the 1-2 now, that one's taken outside. Kressler has a good eye to draw ball two.
Coming into the stadium here a couple hours ago, and there's dressing all around the gates around the stadium to brand this as an NCAA event. Definitely has that feel.
Galehouse makes the play in right and almost throws a runner out at first, but all she's able to do is prevent that from going to the wall to prevent extra bases. So that is a single with no outs. Kressler able to get a good result out of that at-bat.
Yeah, and I talked before about trying to get into the head of Kelsey Collins, and now in the case of Mary Beth Feldman, the Eagles want to get into her head in terms of getting these hits, getting these runners on base, and maybe letting her start doing some second guessing because she's been so effective this season. And all of a sudden to see some early action like Embry-Riddle has shown at the plate, keep in mind that Mary Beth Feldman in the regular season, an amazing ERA of 0.43, 13-1 one-loss record.
Absolute lights out stuff from Feldman. Chevalier makes the play, so the sacrifice attempt backfires. Now there's one out, a runner on, and a sacrifice would now put a runner on second with two outs, and I'm not sure if analytically that would be the best move at this place, especially now that you've got your number 9 hitter, who generally isn't one of the better hitters in your lineup.
Okay, but now let's go back to the bottom of the first, though, and the ball that Corinne Miner hit, where he had 3 Eagles players converge on it in foul territory, and nobody catches it. There's a play there where you see Lexi Chevalier pop up from behind her crouch behind home plate, makes the catch. It looks routine, but it's so important because of moving the inning along. Unlike when Corinne Miner was at bat, she lived to see another pitch. So those things are fundamental, but you got to make those plays, especially now that we're into NCAA play. And every at-bat, every out, it's so much more scrutinized, so much more important. So Chevalier retires the batter, and now Embry-Riddle with one away in the top of the second.
Playoff atmospheres are stressful, and even though it's a double elimination format, the wild pitch lets the runner get to second. You don't want to have to get into that if you lose, you go home mentality early in the tournament. You'd rather save that for when you're in the regional final and having gone through the winner's side of the bracket when we see the finals of the region be settled on the 14th, 2 days from now. So after that one, that's going to be grounded to third, take the out at first, and the runner at second, Kressler, who had advanced on a wild pitch, was looking to try to sneak to third, but a good play by Jansen to make sure that she stays at second. There are now 2 outs in the top of the second.
Yeah, and similarly, you saw Corinne Miner made sure that she held on to the ball to keep the runner at second honest long enough, and then made the throw in time to first base. And so now all of a sudden, yeah, they do have a runner in scoring position, but now the Eagles have 2 outs.
So a lot less stress for Feldman when you only need 1 out to get it, and just a singular runner in scoring position. And you've already got some pretty good outfield arms in Keister, Galehouse, and Fantone that can definitely gun out a runner who's trying to turn third and make it to home on an outfield ball. That one taken outside, ball 1.
This is the right fielder, Leah Johnson. Comes from the Florida Panhandle, Panama City Beach.
Johnson 0 for 1 today, grounded out to short last time. And the good news, even though Johnson has some of the better hitting stats, she doesn't always hit for power, as that one goes to the outfield, but it's a routine fly ball for Fantone. Only a single base runner is able to get on thanks to a hit, so no runs, 1 hit, and no errors to end the top of the second. Still tied, the Spartans bats are ready to go right after this. You're watching the Sunshine State Conference Network for the NCAA Regionals. We are back, bottom of the second. Spartans ready to go once again. Lexi Chevalier leads off for the Spartans right here. The sophomore catcher, always a consistent player. And even though a sophomore, Chevalier has had multiple seasons thanks to, of course, all the COVID and redshirt blue tape that always exists. A big whiff on the first pitch. And as we've seen so far, Collins, a lot of stuff today, having 2 strikeouts already.
Chevalier, the number 6 hitter. And this season, she batted .264. As you see her swing and miss again, and behind in the count early, 0-2. She played in all 46 of the Spartans games. 1 home run, 15 RBI.
It's now the 0-2 to Chevalier, fouled away. So good job to stay alive. You might notice that some of the Spartans batters have lower batting average consistent to the rest of the league, but I'd love to see what an OPS plus or any of those advanced metric ratings would show for the Spartan hitters, because Tampa's ballpark normally has this fence so far out just to the standard wall. It makes it so much harder for long fly balls to actually exit the park for a home run. I mean, we've only seen one this entire season go all the way. There were quite a few plays that probably would be home runs if we had used these dimensions year-round.
And that was a well-struck ball there by Chevalier, although it would not have reached that temporary fence. Went foul down the left field line, as now she swings and misses for strike 3 and for the first out of this bottom of the second inning.
And a great bait pitch to get Chevalier with a hook, line, and sinker for the first out of the inning. 3rd strikeout for Collins, already immaculate stuff. A little bit different of a pitching philosophy than Mary Beth Feldman. Feldman more of a pitch to contact, getting ground ball type pitcher. But for Collins, a little more of a power pitcher, getting those strikeouts and sometimes those fly balls, as Emily Jansen, before we introduce her, is retired thanks to a flyout to left field. 2 outs now in the inning. And today we actually see Savannah Miller, who hasn't had too many times starting for the Spartans, as the designated player.
Savannah Miller, we saw her this past weekend in the series that UT took 2 of 3 against Rollins, and she gets the nod here again this afternoon against Embry-Riddle. And Savannah Miller behind in the count here, 0-1. In the regular season, she only played in 9 games.
Swing and a miss, and as you mentioned, Bruce, trying to get the bat swinging early to try to get some balls in play, and I think Miller's just kind of fallen into that trap that you have to swing at everything. You don't really. You just need to keep focused, keep a good eye, and now you're down 0-2 with 2 outs. Is able to keep alive off the foul tip, but already a tough at-bat to begin for Miller. So far this season, Miller, 13 at-bats, 7 hits, so good job when she's coming primarily as a pinch hitter.
Yeah, works out to a .538 average. Has 2 RBI.
That one fouled away.
Off the screen.
It was interesting they mentioned foul balls could go into the fans, and they sometimes do, but for Tampa softball, there's a little bit less of a risk because we do have this pretty big screen covering nearly the entire seating section. Checks the wrist one more time. The 0-2 to try to retire the side. That's going to be grounded short. Picked up at short. And that's going to be a missed throw. Miller stays at first. A little bit risky, but it's an ultimate error on the throw. But a good job by Miller to get on base and keep the inning alive.
Yeah, interesting in terms of using the word error, because you remember the ball that was hit to right field where the right fielder didn't make the catch, hit it with her glove, and then there was another mishandle on that play that resulted in reaching second base. I usually kind of score those a single dash error, and actually the error that you just saw committed right there goes down as the first official error of the game. And the point here being that if you're Embry-Riddle and it's only the bottom of the second and you've already committed one error, let's be friends and call it two, that's not a good start, and you're really leaving the door open for UT, although the flip side obviously is the Spartans need to do something with those opportunities.
Exactly. We saw them squander runners in the corners to 2 outs earlier on, so we'll have to see if this will go any differently. That pitch taken just outside, so another 50-50. This time, the Spartans get the better of it as the count goes to 1-1. Now, notably as well, as you mentioned that first play, I personally think that I can't blame Leah Johnson too much. She was trying to get the out, and although it would have helped her to play more conservatively, sometimes diving out is what you need to do. There's a big swing and a miss from Stephanie Ballmer, who has been a great fielding shortstop for the Spartans this season, but now finds herself 1-2 down in the count with 2 away. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, and the side is retired. Add another strikeout to Collins Tolley, making it 4. Spartans get no runs, no hits, and do get a runner thanks to an error, but that runner is left hanging, like Cliffhanger from the old kids' TV show. We'll be back, top of the third inning. Embry-Riddle back up, and Feldman back in the circle. We'll be back, NCAA Regionals on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
I
am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
We are back at Nemoli Family Stadium, top of the third inning. Both teams have managed to get some dangerous situations, but apart from that, no runs have been scored. There's going to be a fly ball that just goes into the bullpen and in a tree. Foul. Sandridge, so far, was able to get on base via walk in the first inning. And one of the more dangerous hitters for Embry-Riddle now is ready to go with an 0-1 count to get the third inning underway.
And Feldman, her pitch count at 43, and that's 44 now.
I thought Chevalier framed that well enough to be a strike, but the ump sees it just was just outside in that top corner. Count is paused, and we see, I think, a glove exchange or something on the field. But either way, after that small stoppage of play ready to resume, 1-1.
Yeah, even Kelsey Dunn, the coach of Embry-Riddle, was walking over with curiosity towards the Spartans' dugout.
And I don't blame her, because that was a little bit surprising. Either way, that pitch taken outside, 2-1. And outside again, 3-1. Great patience and discipline for Sandridge, who could ultimately draw a second walk of the game. Normally, you see Sandridge as one of the better hitters from Embry-Riddle, but as long as you're getting on base, you're doing a good job for your team. That one fouled away. Count will go full.
Sandridge staying alive here, and if nothing else, working that pitch count for Mary Beth Feldman, and certainly the Eagles will do anything they can to take her off her game, whether it's physically, mentally, or both.
That one fouled away, and indeed, Bruce, they're not going to want to have to deal with a fully strength Feldman for the entire game, because when they've seen Feldman at full strength for an entire game, literally, as Feldman actually pitched a perfect game, the 8th ever in Spartans history against them. They would love to force the Spartans to make a very rare bullpen change. That one's going to be driven to the outfield. Fantone under it and makes a play. That one was actually one that, sometimes you get a little bit scared for. It could escape the park.
Well, especially given these temporary fences, the Spartans players aren't used to playing with that behind them. So if you're Lauren Fantone, you're used to kind of knowing where your footing is out there and what's behind you or what's not behind you. And that could have been a case where you take your eye off the ball to look and see, am I about to hit the temporary fence, or how close am I getting? And all of a sudden you lose track of the ball and it's on the ground. So nice job by her to make that catch.
There's a line drive to center. That one all the way to the wall. Will probably be extra bases. Gale has to throw in Russo with the cutoff. So as we just see, 2 big balls into the outfield. That one, though, a line drive, not enough height or velocity to get over the wall, but it does get behind Keister. And that is a 1-out double, a huge play right there. And now brings the runner back into scoring position once again for Embry-Riddle.
Yeah, the Spartans they're seeing that Embry-Riddle came to play today. 3 hits already, and it's the top of the 3rd and only 1 out. So they've really got a battle here on their hands in this first game of the day.
This is why you always play the game. You never just say, hey, they're the 7th seed, we're a 2 seed, we're going to be better. Because, honestly, especially in a game like softball, you can easily see series go 2-1, even if one team is clearly better than the other. And that's all you need in this game, 1 win, and anyone can win on any given game. That first pitch was taken outside, ball 1. That one in the zone in the low corner, strike 1. So 1 out, a runner on, a 1-1 count now. Scott so far was fielder's choice in her first at-bat. That one is ball high. Ooh, 2-1 count now.
This one, to me, has the makings of another one of those ground balls to Corinne Miner, who will watch and hold the runner at second before throwing over to first. Let's see if they make me look good and we get another play that unfolds that way.
Well, we've got a ball that's close to Miner, but it's just a little bit too high for Miner to make the play. Thankfully for the Spartans outfield, who is racing to get that, it does go foul, so the count will now go to 2-2. So Scott, once again, the lefty batting outfield, of course, platoon advantage in Feldman. 1 out right here. Fouled away again, staying alive. I have to see whether she puts it opposite grounder again to Miner or Balmer, or instead over to the first base player, and Feldman, or to Russo at second. The 1-2. That's going to be grounded right to Feldman. Can't keep her hand on it. Gets into the outfield. And that will give Embry-Riddle a 1-0 lead. A very disappointing play for the Spartans, but joyful for the Eagles, as Feldman tips off her glove, and Balmer, who was reacting on the initial trajectory, isn't able to pick it up as it rolls very slowly into the outfield to bring Drayton home. Embry-Riddle now takes a 1-0 lead here on the road in the top of the 3rd.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are thanking the softball gods there, because we saw a couple of miscues by Embry-Riddle defensively, and so they're probably thankful that for once they see one bounce their way off of some Spartan gloves that results in the game's first run.
Trying to steal second, the throw gets into the outfield. Thankfully, Keister right there, so the Spartans don't have to worry about another runner at third. But a good stolen base and good base running by Scott. And we're going to see a call to the circle as there's going to be a discussion. And I wonder if Galehouse will be brought in here in this high-pressure situation.
Well, I don't know if Leslie Cantor is ready to give Mary Beth Feldman the hook this early, but I think she had seen enough where she decided, okay, let me settle these girls down. Let's kind of get everybody refocused. Let's take just a short pause here. You see the conference is already over, so nothing extensive. Just wanted to kind of hit the reset button and give everybody a chance to exhale.
Yeah, the reason I mentioned a potential change was because we actually did see that earlier where in a pitching conference pretty early where we didn't expect a huge change, Galehouse was brought in from the outfield to replace Corinne Miner. Swing and a miss there So now the count goes to 0-2. At first pitch on the stolen base was a strike. And now Galehouse getting ready for a first strikeout of the game, potentially. 1 out, runner on second. Showing bunt now is Ortiz Munoz. That one taken high. Not going to swing and miss at the riser there. 1-2. Munoz was able to draw a walk in her first at-bat. Feldman ready to go. Outside corner, but just a little too outside and not enough inside. Ball 2.
Mary Beth Feldman at 60 now on the pitch count.
Here's 61. Swing and a miss for the first strikeout of the game. That comes at an important time. It gets 2 outs in the inning now, as we are going to see Lauren Latoria step up. Latoria grounded out last time.
Let's see if the Eagles try to steal a base here. They're very, very active on the base paths in the regular season. 78 stolen bases as a team. 78 out of 88 in their attempts.
And now, of course, the difference is now with Chevalier, do you throw it to third and risk a ball into the outfield that could bring in a second run, or do you just say, hey, there's 2 outs, if the runner gets to third and it's a tough play, just keep him at third and try to rely on the stuff of Feldman to retire the inning?
Well, and Kelsey Dunn may have made a mental note of Chevalier trying to throw out the runner at second and throwing it away, and for that reason might also say, let's send the runner on the chance that maybe Chevalier throws away another one.
That one gets to the outfield all the way to Galehouse. The throw home, not in time. The runner gets to second. So, things going to bad to worse for the Spartans, but good to better for the Eagles. They take a 2-0 lead. And now we are going to see Cantor out once again. And
yeah, she signaled for Mariah Galehouse to come in from the outfield. So she's making the pitching change now and doesn't want this to get out of hand with the game up 2-0 now. And so Feldman, obviously a disappointing afternoon for her to already be done here in the top of the third. I think obviously there was just a tremendous amount of confidence knowing that she's your starter, and we talked about the stats that she had in the regular season, but in a game of this importance, you don't want to stretch it out too much longer and wait and see if she's going to settle down. So obviously Leslie Cantor decided it's time to pull the plug and try to reverse our fortunes and get Mariah Galehouse in the circle instead.
The gods of softball are cruel, and they will plague even the best pitchers with a tough start in one of the most important games of the season. Galehouse now has a task to try to carry the rest of the game for the Spartans. And obviously, however, we could see Galehouse again go tomorrow if need be, but now being called up, I'd say a little bit premature. I know she was hoping potentially just to stay in the outfield, but duty calls when fortunes don't go your way. And we've seen Galehouse multiple times come in as a reliever from minor, and I imagine this would be one of the first times for Feldman, as Feldman has been electric all year long.
And the other substitution now as a result of Galehouse coming in from right field, we're going to have Mackenzie Allen taking up that spot defensively. So she goes into right field, and Mariah Galehouse now here in the top of the third coming into pitch with 2 outs.
Fires first pitch from the circle. That's going to be strike 1, down low and inside the zone. It was a little bit outside on the corner edge of that strike zone, but still inside enough for strike 1. Galehouse this season, a sub-1 ERA as well, just showcasing how dominant the Spartans pitching staff has been. And a filthy strike 2 pitch right there. Fools the batter with the rising action and drops directly into Chevalier's glove inside the zone right down the middle.
Yeah, 0.77 was her earned run average in the regular season, and 144 2/3 innings pitched. She actually had 1 less walk issued than Mary Beth Feldman, and yet threw 47 more innings.
That could show just how strong that her command is, that whenever she's able to pitch, she really limits walks. She's able to force quick outs, whether they are strikeouts and ground outs or flyouts, although she does have a worse strikeout ratio in a worst case 7. That one grounded to third for Corinne. Got the out at first in time. The side is retired. Galehouse comes in to relieve Feldman and retires the side. 2 runs, 3 hits, and no errors as Embry-Riddle takes a 2-0 lead. The Spartans get a chance to respond right after this. You're watching the Sunshine State Conference Network for the NCAA South Regional for Division II softball.
This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. Academic opportunities are extensive and rigorous, but this mid-sized residential campus retains a welcoming feel. With a student-faculty ratio of 16:1, students benefit from direct interaction with expert faculty, a faculty that is passionate about teaching and mentoring. Outside the classroom, UT enjoys a unique environment.
So we are back, bottom of the 3rd inning now. Lauren Fantone leads off for the Spartans, and normally the Spartans, they don't have to worry about trying to climb back from a deficit, but right now they're going to have to. They're down by 2 runs after an electric 3rd inning from the Eagles. Fantone leads off, and that looks like it'll be a flyout. Both fielders nearly run into each other, so what we had there was a failure to communicate. The only good news for the Eagles is that the communication didn't lead to an error or drop ball. So the first out will be issued after that. Fantone retired to bring up Keister, who struck out in her last plate appearance.
Lily Keister, the center fielder, and facing Kelsey Collins here with their team down 2-0. Obviously the game looked a lot differently when she faced her in the bottom of the 1st, and no score at that point. So as you just mentioned, Taylor, UT having to work from behind now.
The 1-0 after the riser was taken high. That's a ground ball. Gets behind into the outfield. Keister sees it roll away from the outfielder. Turns 2. Is going to head to 3. Throw to 3. Not in time. So on a play that very easily could have been a ground out, the speed of Keister turns it into a 1-out triple.
Yeah, that was a close play too, because I watched her turn second. I was watching the right fielder and looked at Leslie Cantor, who continued to wave her on. And you're right, Lily Keister just fast enough to get to 3rd base, and so a nice position here for Mariah Galehouse. Runner on 3rd base and only 1 out.
I've joked about Galehouse wanting to get her own run support sometimes, but with this plate appearance, if she gets a good enough hit, she theoretically could give herself the run support she needs to get back level. So far, however, Galehouse pops up, and so no real reason to talk about how she's done so far, as that one is going to be a pop-out for the 2nd out of the inning. Disappointing, but Corinne Miner ready to go. And again, a very good batter. You love to have Corinne up in a situation like this where you need a run, and with the shorter fences, can she finally get a home run at her home ballpark?
She walked in the 1st inning, and now with 2 outs, it's got to find some way to bring in Lily Keister from 3rd base, cut this deficit in half.
So that first pitch taken, that was a ball. A little bit confusing right there, as it looked like it could have been a strike, but umpire says just a little high. That one taken, ball 2. Yeah, as you mentioned, Bruce, Miner was able to get on base with a walk in the 1st inning, and I wonder if Collins will be cautious pitching around to Miner, knowing that the runner at 3rd is extremely dangerous when you're facing a dangerous hitter. That one's going to be very much inside, ball 3. So I imagine she might just be working around to bring up Russo, playing the odds a little bit, saying Russo's a little bit better at getting out, even though she is arguably the more dangerous slugger than Miner. Rather play the numbers with her than with Miner. And that is indeed the case. Miner gets the 2nd walk of the game. Runners at the corners, 2 away once again.
Surprising though, 4 straight pitches really didn't work Miner. Corinne just patient and a good eye at the plate there, and was able to work the base on balls. And so Alexa Russo now with an opportunity. And Spartans really have to convert that runner at 3rd this game is going to get away from them quickly in terms of time. Down 2-0 now.
That one's grounded, but will go foul off the bounce. And it actually looked like the first bounce was actually foul, and then it just kind of bounced back in and then bounced back out. As you mentioned, softball itself can have some weird bounces, causes a couple fielding errors, causes a couple misjudges and everything. So always interesting to see. But after that, it's an 0-1 count. Russo struck out last time, but has a lot of power behind her bat. So even though she doesn't always hit it, when she does, it goes far. That one taken outside, ball 1.
The Spartans are 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position so far in this game. So this is the time to change that.
Spartans are also 0 for 5 with a runner on as well. I think the only runner to get on for Spartans in that situation has been Minor, walking twice with a runner on third. That one taken up and away, ball 2. On deck, Lexi Chevalier. And I wonder, is she maybe playing the odds again, trying to work around, and would be satisfied with a walk to bring in a slightly weaker hitter in Chevalier, but that point, you got the bases loaded. Surely you don't want to do that. Russo gets under that one, but it's going to be a routine fly ball, catches it in the sun. Good play by Scott to end the inning. The Spartans strand 2 and get only a base runner off an error, walk, no hits, no runs. Embry-Riddle still leads 2-0 entering the top of the 4th inning. On deck for Embry-Riddle is Bond, Rockenbridge, and Johnson. We'll be right back on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us.
And for college sports.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Burgess. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org/opportunity.
We are back to the Moley Family Stadium at the NCAA South Regional. Embry-Riddle, a nearly perfect start for them, getting an early lead, forcing an early pitching change against the pitcher who went perfect on them earlier in the season. Galehouse now in the circle. Strike 1 called in the outside corner. As leading off for Embry-Riddle is Isabel Bond. Bond so far was out earlier. Grounds to Emily Jansen, and that one is fair for the first out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I thought she was going to let that ball continue to roll to see, because it looked like it was headed foul, and both the home plate umpire and the first base umpire signaled that it was fair. So the Spartans might have caught a little bit of luck there, and as a result, there's one out in the top of the 4th.
And being down by 2 right now in a playoff fixture, Spartans could use all the help they can get. Embry-Riddle says, hey, come on. We need a little bit of luck too, although you could argue they had the luck earlier off the deflection that brought the first run home. That foul ball leads to strike 1. That one leads to strike 2.
I'll tell you, I mentioned before about the Spartans having all but 3 of their players being from somewhere in the state of Florida, and Embry-Riddle quite the opposite. I'm looking at locations like Kansas, Georgia, Texas, obviously Florida, Puerto Rico, Illinois, so they've really kind of canvassed the country to bring these players to Daytona Beach to play their college softball, as you see out number 2 there.
Good play by Corinne Minor, and that feels like something we've said all season. Corinne Minor making good plays on third base. 2 outs now, as it brings the top of the order back up with Leah Johnson. Leah Johnson, one of the better hitters for Embry-Riddle, but the main thing for Leah is she's got the speed to beat out even the best throws. Not enough there, just a step or 2 behind. Corinne, one more time after 3 ground balls. The inning is over. The Spartans surrender it. No hits, no errors, no runners. And now the bottom of the Spartans are ready to go. We'll be back for the bottom of the 4th inning here at the Moley Family Stadium.
Welcome to the University of Tampa. My name is Tucker Whitman, and I'm a junior marketing major here at UT.
Today we're going to look at some of the highlights of our beautiful Riverside campus here in downtown Tampa. We'll start at Plan Hall. This historic building was opened in 1891 as the Tampa Bay Hotel, and now serves as the main academic building here at UT, with 4 floors of classrooms as well as faculty and administrative offices. Next up, the Vaughn Center, the hub of campus life and activities. This multi-purpose building includes the campus bookstore, our primary cafeteria plus an additional food court, a theater, as well as offices and meeting rooms for student organizations. The Vaughn Center is also one of UT's residence halls, providing 5 floors of student rooms. Morsani Hall is another residence hall here at UT. In addition to housing approximately 450 students, this building offers another selection of eateries as well as a small grocery store. Now let's check out the Sykes College of Business. This academic building houses classrooms and faculty offices for UT's undergrad and graduate business.
We are back for the bottom of the 4th. The Spartans were able to surrender the 3 outs very quickly. Well, it was the Eagles who actually surrendered them. It was the Spartans who were able to force that surrender for a very quick top half of the 4th inning. Just what the Spartans needed after a very clumsy 3rd inning, which saw 2 Embry-Riddle runs come home to give them the lead. Kelsey Collins hoping to defend that lead right here against Alexis Chevalier, who leads off. 1-0 count. That one taking the outside corner, strike 1.
Yeah, we're seeing the 6, 7, and 8 hitters here in the bottom of the 4th for UT. Chevalier, followed by Emily Jansen, and then Savannah Miller. Chevalier struck out in the 2nd.
And that one taken in the outside corner, but that one just a little more breaking action outside. So 2-1.
And if you just joined us, I mentioned at the beginning of our broadcast that there's a temporary fence that's been put in for this game. And so we have 190 down the left and right field lines and 220 to straightaway center. If you've been used to watching the Spartans broadcasts from the Namoli Family Stadium throughout the year, you see that looking different in the outfield. See how many teams are able to take advantage of that over these games that are being played here today, tomorrow, and Saturday.
And that one, a fly out by Chevalier for the first out of the inning. And indeed, although today we haven't seen too many risky balls to really challenge the walls, except for 2 good hits from the Eagles back in the 3rd inning. Now up, Emily Jansen, who made a good play earlier to read a ground ball that stayed fair to getting out last time. Emily Jansen so far flew out to left. There's a fly ball to center, not going to be far enough. That'll be the 2nd out of the inning. So similarly, a first pitch fly out once again for Emily Jansen. Disappointing start to the day for her, and now it's going to bring up Savannah Miller once more.
Savannah Miller, the designated player, and reached on an error in the 2nd inning. As you see, both the pitcher and the catcher looking to the Embry-Riddle dugout for some instructions here.
There's a line drive by Miller, but it's going to be a simple play by Scott, and the side is retired. Spartans go down in order. Embry-Riddle holds them to no hits, no runs, and no errors, and no one on base. As we enter the top of the 5th inning, we'll be back in the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. You're watching the NCAA Division II Softball Tournament Regional Stage.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
We are back, top of the 5th. Embry-Riddle leads 2-0, and they would love to expand that lead. That'll be easier said than done against Mariah Galehouse, who has been lights out this season, a sub-1 ERA, over 140-plus innings, and already already a little bit more than an inning pitched so far. That one's a fly ball. That's going to drift foul.
Yeah, I think if before this game started, if you told Embry-Riddle head coach Kelsey Dunn that her team would be up 2-0 and out hitting the Spartans 5-1 in the top of the 5th, I think she'd say, we'll take that all day. And of course, there's still more ball to be played here. They don't only play 4-inning games, but it's got to feel more and more confident as this game moves along. And the Spartans not really finding things offensively.
3-1 now, as Sandridge able to take another good pitch. flew out last time, but got on base in the first inning. Have to see if the fifth inning at bat right here will result in anything different. But at this point, could turn out to be the same. Galehouse ready, fires. That's going to be a line drive, but it's going to just be a line out to left once again. So similar result to before. That one looked like it could have gotten down for a live drive. It got a little too much air under it, and Fantone is able to make a running catch. One away at the top of the fifth.
Exactly, yeah. Laurent Fantone was making sure that that ball had zero chance of hitting the ground. And it's really important that the Spartans limit the Eagles' bats at this point because of the struggles that they're having offensively. And so if UT is going to get back into this with some hits and some runs, they've got to make sure that they're getting the job done defensively and close out these top half of these innings as fast as they can. Any base runners by the Eagles, and they're going to start to build some confidence, and they've already got plenty of it, so UT doesn't want to open that door at all.
So now the difficult batter to face will be Drayton, who is 2 for 2 today, but now down 0-2 in the count after a foul ball and a very well-taken strike. That one was on the inside corner, but the curveball drops in for strike 2. Single and double for Drayton. Love to try to get a triple and home run would get the cycle. That one's going to be grounded to Ballmer. Ballmer decides to throw it, not risking an error, as the slow grounder allows Drayton to get a third hit of the game, staying 3 for 3. And this Embry-Riddle team looking a lot different than the team that lost 2-1 in the season series earlier against the Spartans, and notably had a perfect game pitched against them even earlier against a pitcher who they forced to sat down in the third inning.
That was an interesting play there because you saw Mariah Galehouse making a decision as the ball came to her, and I think that hesitation and actually allowing it to get through made the difference in a potential ground out versus a base hit.
And that one turns into another base hit, second of the inning for Embry-Riddle. Fantone right on it, and a good throw in to make sure none of the runners try to get any extra bases. But now with one out, there are 2 runners on for Karina Ortiz-Munoz. And so far, Munoz has a walk and strikeout to her name.
Needless to say, this is a huge opportunity for the Eagles to really take control of this game now.
Fouled away for strike 1, and now we're also seeing some pressure build for Galehouse, too. Playoff atmosphere suiting Embry-Riddle right here for the Spartans, struggling to get into 5th gear. The 0-1. That one in the zone, we see that is a classic pitch from Feldman. Argue it's a little bit of a changeup, but a more direct arc.
Well, and for Ortiz-Munoz, she was going to be darned if she did and darned if she didn't. She didn't swing at it, and still a strike, and if she had swung at it, you're right, it's going to fool her enough that she was going to swing and miss anyways, chances are. And so a nice decision there, a nice choice of the pitch that Galehouse threw, and has to do a lot more of that if the Spartans are going to get out of this top half of the 5th without any more damage done by Embry-Riddle. They've got runners at first and second with only 1 out.
Here's the 0-2 with 1 away. It's fouled away, so good job by Munoz to stay alive. The righty batting sophomore looking to capitalize with runners in scoring position. This would be an important hit that would help her team try to get to the early game tomorrow into the second round of the winner's bracket. That's going to be grounded to short. Russo gets the force out at second, no time to turn 2. So fielder's choice gets 2 outs and runners on the corners.
I'll tell you what, that was a really, really close play at second. I'm surprised that nobody reacted one way or another because I thought that Embry-Riddle was going to try to make a case for her being safe. And for the Spartans, they breathed a sigh of relief because, yes, they do get a runner to the Eagles moved over to third, but at least now you've got 2 outs and trying to get one more here to dodge a bullet and get into the bottom of the 5th and try to cut into this 2-0 hole that the home team is in.
Latoria has already shown she can bat with runners in scoring position before, having a single and RBI in the 3rd inning. That one taken strike 1 in the inside corner, so now we once again see a little bit of that inside corner stuff happening. But, yeah, indeed, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. We've seen 2 runs come home for the Eagles so far. Latoria would love a second RBI of her own. That one, ball 1, just a little too low.
And looking ahead to the bottom half of this inning, the Spartans are going to have their 9, 1, and 2 hitters, and Lauren Fantone among them. She's the only one that has a base hit for UT so far this afternoon, so they'd love to get out of this jam, as I mentioned.
Trying to steal second, and they get the out at second, so a little bit risky on the base paths. It was a double steal. They were also gunning for home. If that was safe, then Embry-Riddle would be up 3-0. Good news for the Spartans, though. They aren't. The inning is over. The side is retired. No runs, 2 hits, and no errors. And the Spartans still trail 2-0 entering the bottom half. The 9, 1, and 2 hitters ready to go. We'll be back on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network for some more playoff softball. And we are back at Nemoli Family Stadium, the bottom half of the 5th inning here in Game 1 of the South Regional. And so far, Embry-Riddle has been on fire. A great 3rd inning has given them a 2-0 lead. And Kelsey Collins has held the Spartans to just a solitary hit. That one, ooh, it's going to be fair. That's going to turn into a double off an error, maybe a triple, throw into third. Not in time. So, wow, good base path running there by Balmer to turn what looked like it could be a flyout into a triple off an error. That, of course, gets judged as the 3rd error of the game for Embry-Riddle.
Yeah, very interesting to see there that after the ball was mishandled, the 2 players who converged on it both fell down, which really was the difference in, as you said, it being a double and all of a sudden being able to stretch that into a triple. So Balmer ending up all the way at 3rd. And let's see what this conference is about. I think it's actually just head coach Kelsey Dunn probably checking on her shortstop, making sure that Brocken is all right. Due to that, Brockenbrough was one of the 2 that went to the ground, and I think that the coach is just talking to the umpire and saying, let me just check on her and make sure she's all right and that we don't need somebody to come in and replace her. And you see Dunn going back to the Eagles dugout. And so Brockenbrough obviously is all right and will stay in the game.
And good as well, because those collisions can lead to some minor injuries, and thankfully both the left fielder and Brockenbrough back up and ready to go for the next at-bat.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, that's actually Mahalia Sandridge at shortstop. Brockenbrough is the left fielder who was the other player that went down in foul territory on that ball. But regardless, both Sandridge and Brockenbrough are both all right.
So the Spartans ready to go. Runner on 3rd, ball 1 taken, no outs. This is the perfect situation for Fantone to try to cut that 2-run deficit to 1. Fantone, the only hitter so far for the Spartans, with a double in the 1st inning. Honestly, any ball in the infield likely would bring Balmer home, as long as it's not right to the 3rd base player. 2-0 taken right here. Collins, I think, pitching cautiously. That one's going to be taken outside corner, strike 1.
Fantone checking the signs from Leslie Cantor. And ahead in the count 2-1 right now.
It's going to be fouled away, 2-2. In this situation, you don't want to get a strikeout because a ball in play could lead to an easy sacrifice RBI. But Collins will be hoping for that result. Already has 4 in the game through 4 innings pitched.
Yeah, and certainly Kelsey Dunn has given signs to her Eagles infielders in terms of looking to get the runner at home.
At second, runner to first. That one's going to be dropped, so as Balmer ultimately stays at third because a good play by Drayton at second to just make sure the runner didn't try to go to home. The ball was bobbled by Ortiz Munoz at first, and now runners will sit at the corners with no one out, and we're going to see a little conference in the circle, only for the players, manager, of course, Kelsey Dunn, staying in the dugout, as they're just saying, hey, listen, calm down, we're all good. Let's see if we can try to work a triple play or something.
Yes.
Wonder what they're going to be strategizing.
So it's
for
interesting.
The next
She obviously did tell them, let's make sure that we get the runner going home, and that was the thought process there. Let's check the runner to make sure she doesn't get there. And you couldn't have counted on there being an error committed at first base. And so it's kind of a glass half full, glass half empty. You don't allow the run to score, but unfortunately, the batter ends up at first. So UT very fortunate here. Runners on the corners and nobody out.
The runners to the corners, no one out. I have a feeling that we're going to see Keister drop a sacrifice bunt, or there won't be any need to, as we've already seen Fantone steal second. But a smart play there by Bond to just hold on to it, because if you throw it to second, that could mean Balmer then sprints home for a free run.
Before I talked about Lady Luck and the softball gods, or whatever you want to call it, all of a sudden the Eagles have committed 4 errors, and you do have to wonder if at some point the scales are going to start to tip, and that's eventually going to come back to haunt them, because committing 4 errors in a game and still ending up winning doesn't happen very often.
Defense is always important, especially in the playoffs. It can be the thing that wins you a championship. There's going to be a grounder to second. The throw home, not in time, so runners stay at the corners and no outs, and the Spartans get their first run of the ball game.
Yeah, I think that was a combination of good speed by Steph Ballmer and maybe the throw just being just a hair bit off target, just a hair bit enough to make the difference and allowing the Spartans to cut the deficit in half.
And that is a very important at-bat right there. Now you have to wonder, as the manager now comes into the circle for a conference, you have Galehouse at the plate. Do you have to game plan differently? Or are you maybe going to bring in someone from the bullpen? What are you going to do if you're Embry-Riddle, arguably the most important at-bat of the afternoon, because you now have 2 runners on and arguably the Spartans' best hitter at the plate, who would be hungry to try to get herself some run support to give herself another win in the old win column.
Yeah, I was wondering as well, would they take Kelsey Collins out? The fact that Kelsey Dunn, the head coach, has stood with her back to the bullpen through this whole conference, told me that she's not going to. At the same time, you have to think that Kelsey Collins has to be on a very short leash at this point.
Very few mistakes will be tolerated from this point out. If there's another big hit or whatever, I think we will see that call. And imagine we will get to see some action as players will begin to warm up. A little bit hard to view from the booth, though. But we'll just have to wait and see. So now Galehouse ready to go. 2 runners on. 2-1. This could be a huge plate appearance right here so far.
There's also something to be said for the layout here. As you are Kelsey Collins and you look towards the dugout, just to your left is the bullpen. As you see now advancing to second base, Lily Keister. So runners on second, third. So if you're looking into the dugout for the signals, and out of the corner of your eye to your left you see someone in the bullpen, now it really starts to wear on you.
And compile all that, because that is just already tough pressure to deal with in a normal game, but in a playoff game, even double elimination, it is even more stressful. That could lead to a side of relief, though, as there's a fly ball in the infield, and that is going to be a good play by Sandridge. Let's get the first out of the inning. But now, 2 runners still in scoring position for Corinne Miner. And Corinne, as we know, is one of the deadlier hitters for the Spartans, and now doesn't have to worry about a 2-out situation with these runners in scoring position, and could really blow the game wide open or even take the lead for the Spartans if she gets a ball in play for both runners to score.
And if you're Kelsey Collins, you're going, okay, I walked her the first 2 times, and that's got to play into your head also and think, what do I got to do to get her out? Because obviously Corinne Miner is not someone that you really want to serve up a nice pitch to, especially with there only being 1 out. Granted, you might have an opportunity for a double play somewhere, but gosh, this is exactly who the Spartans wanted to plate, and it's the last player that the Eagles wanted to plate right now for UT.
In a game like this, I wouldn't be surprised as ball 2 is taken if we see Miner get walked again. I know that would be disappointing for Miner. She might try to reach at a pitch that is more of a bait pitch this time. But In a way, you've already retired Russo the first couple times. Do you want to play the luck with her again, or do you want to say, hey, I'll try to pitch to Minor? That one's ball 3, so we could see a perfect on-base day for Minor continue, as she could get another 4-ball walk. That, of course, would put all the pressure on Russo's shoulders. And it will.
Wow.
Yes, it will. It looked like with the late call was going to be a strike, but another 4-pitch walk for Curran Minor, and shows you how much Embry-Riddle respects her bat to load the bases voluntarily with 4 pitches. And now it brings up Alexa Russo, and I'll add, Russo and Minor have been in an arms race of getting RBIs throughout the season. Ultimately, in the regular season, Minor finished ahead by 6.
Keep in mind there's only 1 out.
Yeah. Any sacrifice or ball into the outfield would bring the tying run home, undoubtedly, after his base taken strike 1. And here's the thing about Russo. When Russo gets the ball in play, it's usually an outfield ball. So it'll be interesting to see if Russo can put that in play and get this game tied up. The 0-1 now to Russo. Fouled away, so 0-2.
Yeah, she flew out to center field in the 3rd inning after having struck out in the 1st. And in this case, the Spartans be happy to make that compromise.
They would very much love that trade deal to get the 2nd out, but get the game tied. Here's the 0-2 now to Russo from Collins. That one taken just outside. That was a bait pitch to try to get a 2nd strikeout for Russo, and a 5th in total for Collins. Collins entering the 80-pitch plateau at this point, so even more pressure on that front as the arm gets a little bit tired. 1-2, bases loaded. Here comes a pretty big pressure pitch. Swing and a miss, so 2 outs here, and the Spartans could be looking to retire 3 more on base if Lexi Chevalier can't get something done here. And what has turned into what would be an inning that the Spartans could try to get back both runs. They've only gotten 1 so far, and now you've got a batter who was out in the 1st, or out in the 4th, and struck out in the 2nd.
And with that strikeout, UT is now 0 for 9 on the day with runners in scoring position, 0 for 10 with runners on, period.
That one's taken. That's a little bit hard to see without the arm movement. So it's a 1-0 count now to Lexi Chevalier. Collins ready and fires. Chevalier lines that down the line. Spartans tie it up. Runner stays at 3rd. Bases remain loaded. Chevalier gets the job done, and it's a 2-2 ball game with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th.
I'll tell you, I was a little surprised that they didn't send Lily Keister. She looked like she was turning the corner, and Leslie Cantor held her up right away. And either way, it's a whole new ball game now, tied at 2.
So indeed, this ball game has gotten another chapter written. What looked like Embry-Riddle could be on the way to try to close out a really good win. There's still plenty of time to play. Emily Jansen, a fly ball that should end the inning, and Jansen has seen 3 pitches. All 3 of them have been flyouts to the outfield, so disappointing day continues for her. And even though the Spartans strand bases loaded, they'll be satisfied knowing they were able to tie the game at the bottom of the 5th with 2 runs on 1 hit and 2 errors. Errors could be the costly factor that have prevented the Eagles from walking into the 6th inning with that 2-run lead. We'll be back at the top of the 6th inning now. Tampa facing Embry-Riddle in the NCAA South Regional for Division II softball.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us and for college sports.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela Burgess. Incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org/opportunity.
Sorry, once more. Polka? Okay. Because I just got a no for the end of the broadcast. Well, we are back, Namoli Family Stadium. Two entering the top of the sixth, and this has been an incredibly entertaining game so far for the Spartans and for Embry-Riddle. Both teams going back and forth. In the third inning, Embry-Riddle took a 2-run lead. And at the bottom of the fifth, the Spartans were able to make it 2-2 with a good inning of their own. First pitch taken for strike one. Ball one, I apologize. That one fouled for strike one now. Actually, it's 0-2.
It's amazing that the Eagles have 7 hits and the Spartans only 2, and yet the game is tied 2-2, due in large part to 4 errors by the Eagles, which have finally caught up with them.
That one's going to be taken in the dirt for ball one. And yeah, indeed, those errors will help the pitching line not look as bad with the earned run category, but in terms of the game, it still means 2 runs have come home from the Spartans thanks to those errors. And that has turned what could have been a pretty sound performance so far from Embry-Riddle into a continued nail-biter and what could turn out to be a playoff classic here in the first round of the South Regional. 2-2 right now. Fouled away.
For both teams, though, psychologically, this game has taken on a whole new complexion. The Spartans have to be feeling a lot of momentum. The Eagles have to kind of be second-guessing, kind of that uh-oh kind of feeling.
And as momentum changes, it's all in how you get momentum late in the game. You need to forget those first early innings because the only innings that truly matter, 5, 6, and 7, because that is where the game is decided. You can score 8, 9 runs in the first inning, but you always pitch until the final out. That's one of the things I love about softball. It's that the game isn't over until it's truly over. You can't park the bus. You can't just sit on your laurels and rest. You always have to be playing at 100%. Full count now, as Latoria has had another solid at-bat right here. We saw Latoria watch the caught stealing end the previous inning with runners on. Now is a chance to try to get some offense going with empty bases. That's going to be grounded to Russo. Makes the play for the first out of the inning.
But, you know, the more tense that the atmosphere gets, all of a sudden a routine ground ball like that, Alexa Russo is going, don't fail me now, experience. Don't fail me now. Let me just make this toss same way I have so many times throughout my softball career.
Yeah, and those ground balls in a tense situation, you don't need Netflix-level drama and scripting to make that play very stressful. Swing and a miss as we see the off-speed completely fool Kressler. So far, Kressler got on base with a single, but also grounded out to Corinne Minor earlier. 0-1 with 1 away. Kressler getting ready to go. Taken on the outside for strike 2.
Kressler, the third base player, not too far from home, playing her college softball in Daytona Beach. She hails from Melbourne, Florida.
Fouled away, so Kressler, good job in staying alive as she looked fooled again by the off-speed, but was able to get the bat to it just enough to keep the at-bat going. 1 out, 0-2 count, and yeah, Galehouse has come in and done a good job of trying to keep this game under wraps from the circle. Here's the 0-2. That one's down in the dirt, 1-2.
And if you joined us late and you're saying Galehouse in relief, yeah, Mary Beth Feldman started the game, pitched 2 2/3 innings, and gave up 2 runs, both earned, and then was taken out in favor of Mariah Galehouse, who came in from the right field position that she'd started the game at defensively, and has settled things down nicely for the Spartans since taking over in the circle.
Indeed, and honestly, it's been a rarity to see Feldman have little blips like that, and even though it did end in the third inning, it wasn't an absolutely terrible start. 2 2/3 alongside a strikeout, just unlucky, and we saw that Leslie Cantor wanted to play it safe and brought in Galehouse to try to make sure the deficit stayed the same, and so far, it's been working. This at bat going on for a while. Kressler getting a lot of foul balls to stay alive. 1-2 once again, top of the sixth. Kressler a few more practice swings. On the outside, but just a little too far. 2-2 count now for the number 2. who is hitting at the number 7 spot. That's where the run of 2s ends if you don't count the score as well.
And we appreciate you watching, but if your schedule allows, plenty of softball to come out and watch here these next couple days. The Moley Family Stadium, 3 games tomorrow, at least 1 on Saturday, possibly 2.
And it's a beautiful day today. We hope it stays as beautiful throughout the rest of the week. Here's the 3-2 now. That's going to be grounded. Galehouse makes the play and gets the throw to Emily Jansen in time for the first grounder out of the inning. Second out in total. Actually, there was a ground out a little bit earlier too, so 2 outs in the inning. And that will bring up Isabel Bond. Actually, we do see a pinch hitter come in for Bond, as it's going to be Serenity Janikin.
Serenity Janikin is actually from right here in Tampa. Played her high school ball at Chamberlain. 5'4" freshman, and so Serenity Janikin coming in here in the top of the 6th, trying to change the fortunes of the Eagles against Mariah Galehouse and the Tampa Spartans.
So Janikin gets the call here in the NCAA regional game, and this is going to be a big at-bat for the freshman. As you said, local, love playing. Obviously expect her parents to be here. The 0-1 now to Janikin. Swing and a miss. A big whiff right there for strike 2. That one drops in front of Chevalier.
Janikin played in 25 games in the regular season, and she hit 300 based on 3 for 10.
That one's taken just outside, ball 1.
Started just 2 of the 25 games that she appeared in, so a big opportunity here for her in the postseason.
That's going to be grounded to Galehouse and gets the out at first. Spartans another pretty quick inning. Galehouse proving her stuff once again from the circle, and Spartans bats will be ready to go in the bottom of the 6th to try to take the lead. We'll be right back on the Sunshine State Conference Network. You're watching the NCAA Division II Softball Regionals. And, of course, stay tuned after this one. Valdosta State takes on Rollins. We'll be right back.
Just another ordinary day at UT.
And we are back into Moley Family Stadium. NCAA tournament ball continues, as it is still a 2-2 game in the bottom of the 6th. Maria Galehouse was able to retire the Eagles quickly, and we're going to see whether Kelsey Collins can do the same. There's a shallow fly ball, and a great running catch by Leah Johnson. We saw her try a diving play in the first inning. It didn't work out. This time, she falls as she makes the catch to retire the first batter off the first pitch.
Yeah, we're seeing the 8, 9, and 1 hitters this half inning for the Spartans. So that was Savannah Miller, and now it's Steph Balmer, who's 0 for 2. She struck out in the 2nd, reached on an error in the 5th.
Balmer ready to go. Drops the bunt, but it's going to be a brilliant catch right there. Good reactions by Collins, and 2 Spartans batters retired on 2 pitches. That's good for Collins, as Collins is reaching 90 pitches relatively quickly, but a very quick bottom of the 6th is going to be huge for Embry-Riddle.
So Lauren Fantone to the plate. She doubled in the 1st and then popped out to short in the 3rd, reached on an error in the 5th. So the Spartans trying to stay alive here in the bottom of the 6th. Game tied 2-2.
That one taken just outside, ball one. A good eye to start out from Fantone. And indeed, Fantone reached on an error and got a double in the first inning. That one's a ground ball and going to be retired. A good play right there at first by Ortiz Munoz to end the inning. Spartans go down in order. Embry-Riddle goes down in order. A very anticlimactic sixth inning. It's going to come down to inning number 7. Right after this, the NCAA South Regional is going to be right back after this on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
I pledged.
I am an NCAA student athlete.
And I pledge to be a champion of unity
on my team, on my campus, and in my community.
I pledge to embrace differences and strive for inclusion and collaboration.
I pledge to stand against racism, hate, and discrimination.
I pledge to strive for love, care, and forgiveness.
I pledge to stand against silence, deceit, and obscurity.
I pledge to strive for dialogue, truth, and understanding.
I pledge to stand against fear and doubt.
I pledge to strive for trust and belief in one another.
I pledge to stand against complacency and stagnancy.
I pledge to strive for change and growth.
I commit to supporting my fellow student athletes in all circumstances that impact them.
I commit to both choosing unity personally and encouraging it for all.
I pledge these things because we are stronger together.
United as one.
So we are back for the top of the 7th now, and this has been a game that has been back and forth. In the 3rd inning, we saw Embry-Riddle score 2 runs and take the lead. In the bottom of the 5th, Tampa struck back with 2 runs of their own. Both teams looking to take the advantage in what could be the decisive run for this decisive Game 1 of the South Regional. Double elimination, loser plays at 3 p.m. tomorrow, winner plays at noon.
And the 9-1 and 2 hitters for the Eagles here.
Well, the number 9 hitter retired on the first pitch, as that's a ground out to Maria Gilhouse. And now, Leah Johnson back up. We saw Johnson make a good play in right field earlier, having to run and ultimately going to the ground after making the catch. Has a chance to try to get a hit right here. Takes ball 1 outside. But so far, a fly out and 2 ground outs for Johnson, wanting to avoid a similar result at this at-bat. The 1-0. That one taken well in the dirt, ball 2. Johnson ready to go, 2-0. Foul that away. So it's going to be a 2-1 count now. We see Feldman pitching very Galehouse pitching very carefully right now to Johnson. Very much going outside, knowing that Johnson has speed and not wanting to give her any dangerously fielding ground ball to get her on base. Swing and a miss right there. An inside pitch fooling Johnson. I think she was looking outside. We see Johnson having a little laugh at that almost, saying, oh man, I missed on that one. But that laughter could turn the other way around in this next pitch. Let's see what happens. 2-2. And indeed it will. Not for long, though. Fantone makes a great running catch to get the second out of the inning. What looked like it could have been a line drive single, or even double given Johnson's speed, turns out to be the second out of the inning. And now, Mahalia Sandbridge is come up. Sorry, Mahalia Sandbridge, ready to go with 2 outs.
Sandridge walked in the first and has flown out to left in the 3rd and the 5th. Still looking to get her first base hit of this game.
That first pitch taken, strike 1. There's a ball to left, and Fantone makes the catch. And running into the wall, great range there by Fantone to get the final out of the inning. So that's the 3rd time. Sandridge flies out to left. No runs, no hits, and no errors as we enter bottom of the 7th. For the Tampa Spartans. We'll be back. A potential game-ending inning coming right up on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
This is the University of Tampa. UT students travel from across the nation and around the globe to join a dynamic learning community. There are 150 academic programs, continuing studies for non-traditional students, and a highly ranked graduate school. Academic opportunities are extensive and rigorous, but this mid-sized residential campus retains a welcoming feel. With a student-faculty ratio of 16:1, students benefit from direct interaction with expert faculty, a faculty that is passionate about teaching and...
The 2, 3, and 4 hitters could potentially separate us from a game-ending bottom half of the 7th or dreaded extra innings. 2-2 right now. Leading off for the Spartans, Lily Keister, who is 0 for 3, although is advanced on fielder's choice and on an error. That first pitch will be taken for ball 1.
Yeah, I think if you're Lily Keister, you say, it doesn't matter how I got on base. The fact is that I did reach, and I'll get on base any way I can.
And right here, hoping to get on base. The slow throw allows Keister to get on base right there. And Sandra at second, not able to pick up the ball and get the throw in time. So Keister's speed puts the winning run at first for Mariah Galehouse. And as we've said before, bring in your own run support. Who else has been able to do that except Mariah Galehouse? And with a runner on first, you know, she'd love to try to get a better situation for her team at minimum, or even look to win. Although, as has been custom for Tampa, I have a feeling Galehouse will drop a bunt.
Tell you what, if there's young players that are watching or that are here in the stadium, I love seeing plays like you just saw from Lily Keister. That's why it's so important to run those out. The inclination is that it's going to be a routine ground out, and there you see that speed 1. And a big difference now, the Spartans, as you mentioned, Taylor, having the potential winning run at first base as opposed to bases empty and 1 out. So doors open here, and with Mariah Galehouse, your number 3 hitter, and then Corinne Miner, number 4, the opportunity could be presenting itself for UT here in dramatic fashion, bottom of the 7th.
And of course, leave it to Tampa to try to do things in dramatic fashions, struggling with getting on base when runners are on base all season, trying to leave it up to the end. Oh, it's always a fun playoff situation. Throw back to first, safe as the ball nearly got away from Bond. But a good reaction there, and almost had caught Keister off guard at first, but yeah, Tampa leaving it late. Potentially we could see Embry-Riddle doing the same if this goes even a little bit later too. So this could go any way, and it's been an incredibly exciting start, the NCAA regionals here. So now 1-1 again to Galehouse, Miner, Russo, Chevalier up next, the next 3. So 3 even stronger bats still yet to come. That one taken outside as we see Keister ready to run the second.
And prior to that pitch, both Kelsey Collins and Isabel Bond, the catcher, looking into the dugout. They want to make sure that they get called exactly what head coach Kelsey Dunn wants. Every pitch so important at this point.
Galehouse gets the bunt down. The throw to first will miss. That's going to bring Keister to third. Keister going home. The throw to the plate. Not in time. Tampa wins game 1, and they will be playing at noon. It is an error on the an error on the throw off the sacrifice bunt by Galehouse gives Tampa the win in game 1 of the NCAA South Regional. And oh man, I haven't seen many games end like that.
Well, and you called it. You said Mariah Galehouse, her own run support. So there you go. Probably not the way that it would have traditionally been drawn up, but the Spartans will take it any way they can. And again, Taylor talked over and over throughout this game that those errors were eventually going to catch up with the Eagles. And there you go. How appropriate that it ends up being an error like that makes the difference in allowing the winning run to score.
Indeed, it caught up in the worst way. Error number 5 ends up to be the dagger in the coffin as the Spartans take a 3-2 victory in the first round of the NCAA South Regional. In the end, it's Galehouse who came in for relief as the winning pitcher and winning hitter off the winning sacrifice bunt. Kelsey Collins unfortunately has to take the loss, even though that ultimately is not, or that even though that is actually an earned run, I believe, as it did originate off a hit.
Well, what I thought you were going to say is even though she only gave up 3 hits in the game, but the fact of the matter is that, as you mentioned, her team committed 5 errors behind her, and so that really makes all the difference as she takes the loss in a very disappointing fashion as a result of all those errors. And so for Embry-Riddle, that one smarts, because keep in mind that they were up 2-0 at one point in this game, and could you make an argument that they basically gave it away, that they really handed that one over to the Spartans? I think you could, because 5 errors, I really think it's awfully, awfully rare to commit 5 errors in a game and still win, and they just bared it out right there.
Embry-Riddle had 7 hits, great offense, but in the end, defense wins championships, and the lack of quality defense in clutch situations, I think, was the difference between the Spartans and Eagles for this Game 1. Embry-Riddle's season isn't over yet. They'll be playing 3 p.m. tomorrow against the loser of this upcoming game against Valdosta State and Rollins. Meanwhile, Tampa will face the winner. If you're interested in seeing some more softball, stick around. Or if you're here to watch Valdosta State against Rollins, stick around as well. We'll be back with Game 2 of the NCAA South Regional right after this. Thank you for tuning in to Game 1 on Tampa Spartans TV on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. This is NCAA Playoff Softball.